Hello, so this is Postdoc Chronicles number 4, and we are in my fourth week in Johannesburg, so almost a month. And in fact, this Saturday I'll now be transferring my other new accommodation. Okay, but basically today I am in my office, which is the National Institute of Theoretical physics. Okay, and it is one of the labs here at the School of Physics in the University of Witwatersrand. And basically, so typically postdocs, they have like their own cubicle, so like this one. So but fortunately, I'm the only one in this room, so you can see some calculations there on the board, and my MacBook and my all my stuff and so on. But basically, so far, I am almost done with the final project in test skin and shoulder. So basically, whole day here, what I do is I solve stuff in this very nice Scratch notebook. Okay, so the final part is basically solving the cross section of gluon bremsstrahlung. Okay, when you have a electron positron producing quark and anti-quark pair. And I am now, after this one, I am now simultaneously reading Monte Carlo techniques when doing the integrations involved when you have like many particles in the event. Okay, at the same time I am now entering QCD territory. So after QED, I'll be spending this week studying QCD, and mostly we'll be using Halzen and Martin the QCD chapter 11, and then we're also using the textbook Collider Physics by, I believe it's Barger and Phillips. Okay, and yeah, so far the calculations in the gluon bremsstrahlung that I did, it's a bit straightforward but a little tedious, especially when it comes to the trace identities and the simplification of the Dirac matrices and so on. Okay, but it's cool, right? And so far, now I am now processing my the funding for the SAIP, the South African Institute of Physics, like conference, which will happen on in Bloemfontein. So it's like 1 hour plane away. It's still in South Africa, another city. It will be towards the end of June, so I'll be preparing my poster for that presentation. And at the same time, I'm also processing the funding and the visa for Switzerland, Italy, and then hopefully Poland for the Iron Maiden. So basically, the Italy conference, they sent an email because like that's a 1 week school. On a Wednesday in the middle of the conference, there's like an excursion around Italy. Okay, and basically they gave us two choices. Okay, so they gave us like free tickets, but we'll choose one to this very cool museum. So one is the Uffizi Museum. Okay, which is I searched it. It's very awesome. It features like the works of the Italian Renaissance, the giants of the Renaissance art, which is like, for example, it houses the Adoration of the Magi by Leonardo da Vinci. It has works by Michelangelo, Raphael, Donatello. So I'm just like spitting out the Ninja Turtles here, but you get the idea. It's if you're like into art, it's a very good place to be. But I actually got the other choice. The other choice is Galileo Museum. It's a science museum, and in there it features some of the surviving instruments by Galileo, specifically the telescope that he used when he, observed the moons of Jupiter. And I really like that. In my physics 10 classes, I always show the diary of Galileo when he was like observing the moons of Jupiter, like on this day the moon is thus and so on. It's very fascinating. But the coolest thing is that in that Galileo Museum, they also have like the middle finger of the right hand of Galileo. So it's like I'm so excited because when I go there, I'm gonna look at that the middle finger of Galileo, and basically it's like you're literally in the presence of the great man himself, the guy who introduced to us the scientific method. Okay, so I'm very excited for that trip. But basically, yeah, um, uh, for this past few weeks, so every day I just go to school at like 8 or 9 a.m. and then stay here and solve, and then go home, catch the bus at like 5 p.m. Right? So I'm still looking forward to, for some weird reasons, I am yet to see a cat in South Africa. I'm a cat person and I haven't seen any cat yet here. Okay, so hopefully I'll find one. But yeah, basically that's my postdoc chronicles, and I'll see you next week. So I'm really excited for Galileo's middle finger, and I'm also excited for the Iron Maiden. So hopefully all goes well with the visa and so on. Okay, so thank you very much, and I'll see you next week for my Postdoc Chronicles number 5. Yeah.